stuff. I'm not moving from this chair for 1 hour.
I cannot believe the war crimes your son just committed. How could he do this?
He made me. Yeah, I know. Shame on him.
He broke the treaty with the gate.
He's gonna learn. He's gonna learn later. Just wait till we get home, dude.
When I read him a book,
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Well, aren't you home?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Right now. Just
God.
Jump on him.
Throw hands.
Take him to the Thunderdome.
Love that. I can't wait till I can fight my son.
Start fighting him now. Get him started young.
Actually, that was the reason why I was a little late, was because he would not stop screaming for Sam, and I just picked him up and he was totally fine.
True. Based.
Dude, the dad superpower is unreal.
Well, we didn't have that with our first one, but we certainly have it with our second one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's getting better, but I was the only one that could really put him down. She's the only one that can put the oldest down.
That's fair.
So we just have like our segmented children that we take care of in the evenings.
Favorites. Yes, good.
Yeah.
Good. As it should be.
Well, the youngest is my favorite second son, and the oldest is my favorite first son. So
hey, based.
That's what it is.
Can't wait to say things like that. You're my favorite child. And son.
Dad jokes.
Welcome to the Dad Joke One to Dadding podcast, where we talk
what
about
dad number is this,
skills.
my friend? It's episode number 63.
Is that right? I can check. I think it's 62 actually, but I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Let's see what the File Explorer says. It is.
I think he's
62.
shutting it behind himself. I think he's in the habit of closing it behind himself.
Yeah, those ones are empty. You gotta pick a different one.
Absolutely
That's
based.
Trash.
Biscuit and gravy.
Mm-hmm. Homemade?
I mean, biscuits, no. Gravy, no.
So simplified. No, it's not like a.
But we made our own
equation
chicken sausage.
Where two no's makes it. Yeah, you made this the hardest part, which is the sausage.
Correct. Yeah, I had to.
Wait, Sam bakes, right? Or she worked for
she has before
a bakery.
She worked for a couple, and yeah, she actually made what was it like? She made like sour cream muffins earlier.
Oh, jeez,
They're really good.
Anytime there's like sour cream included in the title of a pastry, I'm always hesitant. But I do know that like sour cream makes pastries taste really good.
Yes, sir.
But
you add enough
always
sugar and leavening agents to anything, it's going to taste good.
Yeah, true. But it's like sour cream and chocolate cake is that's a good one.
Okay, God, how was something hilarious real quick. Last week,
Okay.
we finished recording the podcast. I get on TikTok. First TikTok I see is Rachel's TikTok, and she's doing the things like, what do I need right now? And it says food. And in the background, I just see us recording. And I'm just like, man, imagine feeding your wife and instead recording a base-ass podcast.
Yeah, true. And
the face she made just said it all. I was just like,
never failing. Are never failing. Week in, week out.
Bro, I've never failed a day in my life. What the fuck are you talking about?
Fuck the food right now. You can wait.
As I eat the food right now.
I'm I don't know if I've told you this. I'm intermittent fasting, and I've been doing it for about 3 weeks now.
Good for you, man. I've done that before, and it's worked wonders for me.
I'm trying to slim down before Jamaica, which we're going to in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm actually really... we don't want to advertise. I don't want one of the 30 people watching to come and find me.
Jamaica.
Go to Jamaica.
Because, you know, our demographics really show that we have
true.
a massive Jamaican audience.
Yeah.
1/10 of our whole... No, I'm kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I made a new fan today of the pod somehow.
No way.
Yeah, actually, it was like right before this. I was at the dog park in our complex, and this guy came by with his dog, and he's like, "I'm not gonna come in. I just want to like let him sniff through the gate." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And we just start shooting shit. I've never had a more genuine conversation with a perfect stranger in my entire life. Like, you know those conversations where you like talk to someone, and then you're like, at the end, you're like, "Oh, by the way, I didn't get your name," and you had like a really great.
Deep, like many topics.
Bro, we talked about mental health. We talked about like our individual struggles in life. We talked about like just life basically. And then at the end, he was like, "Oh, I'm like, oh, I just realized time it was 6." And I was like, "I have to go shower. I got to get food going." Like all this news, I'm like, I have to record this podcast. He's like, "Oh, you got to go listen to one, or you like record?" I'm like, "Oh no, I have to record it." He's like, "Oh no way." He's like, "Are you on YouTube?" And I was like, "We are. We are on the YouTube." So I told him like, look for the purple thumbnail with the couple guys arguing, and then random bullshit on the thumbnails.
Yeah, true.
That's us.
True.
So greetings and welcome
That's
to another
good,
episode of
man.
the 1 to 10 podcast. We got more fans.
Yes, welcome, new man from outside of the dog park of the apartment complex.
Don, if you're listening to this. Yeah, it was
I don't know.
It was weird. honestly.
Guerrilla marketing is great, but it's like super exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even an attempt. It was just kind of like a natural progression of conversation, which was kind of cool.
Well, that's how it is. Like every follower technically is like some form of authentic like recommendation. So whether that's you doing it or someone else doing it for you, like
We also got a
that is how
business
numbers
email
grow.
right before the pod too actually started, and it was this guy who works at, like this pod network thing that he started and whatever, and it basically is one of those things where it's like, we help connect you with guests and you can be guests on other podcasts if you want to. Also, we can help you monetize. And I'm like,
But it's
that
just
part sounds interesting, but it's not gonna be something I'm ever gonna pursue.
If you're not starting your own like content universe like thing, all you're doing is like becoming another number for everyone, because it's like, okay, if you want to participate, you have to follow all of these channels, and then you're never going to watch any of them because you don't know how to do it, and it's a way to boost like the numbers of the person that originally
I'm not gonna do that shit.
started it.
I mean, I appreciate the few emails we've gotten from agencies trying to like work with us or help us get the thing. There was one that was a little while ago. It was like this new platform kind of linking people to help, commingle content create. But that was in the phase when we were pretty early in the pod. And I was like, I don't really want to put perfect strangers on this. Like, I want friends. I want people who I know to be a part of this.
Hone it in.
Yeah. And I think we kind of have honed it in. We got a pretty damn good thing going here. Aside from the crippling ADHD I've developed from the other couple episodes ago, that was...
Yeah, by the way, check it. Videos in the description if you want to just enter a fever dream of what the world has become.
Borger good.
Yeah, Borger was good. Roads were cleared.
Yeah, drainage
drain
gulch
pipes
cleared.
were cleared.
Yeah.
You know what's hilarious is the next day that I was home, there was a fucking video of him clearing a clog, like right down the street from where I worked about a year ago.
So this guy's local to you too. I'm watching a Bulgarian guy. You're watching a guy who's in town.
He goes like up to New Hampshire and then Vermont and then Massachusetts, which all in all isn't really like a super. That's like a couple hours of driving to one of those locations. So he could be from upstate New York and he just drives a couple hours to get there. But
you think he's from fucking Syracuse?
I don't know, just some random place around here, and then he just.
I don't get upstate New York vibe from that guy.
No, I just get autism from him. So
same. The schism of the tism, if you will.
I think a hint instead of hint of lime tortillas, it's hint of tism. YouTuber.
We're gonna be called ableists one day or some shit.
I actually probably am a little bit, so I think that I am just.
Oh no, I'm fairly certain I'm on the spectrum.
Yeah.
So
let us know in the comments if
you're on the spectrum. Yeah, let's go. Spurgs unite.
It's the reason that I was talking about that is just because it's cool. Like I always wonder. There's movies that have been filmed in the area that I live in, because Massachusetts is a fairly, and I'm fine with people knowing I'm from Massachusetts. It's a fairly like common place for filming to be done. Yeah, so, for example, in the newest Dexter, there were some a couple episodes were filmed out of here. Roads were blocked and shit. And then there's a couple monuments that are nearby that are like a few movies have been filmed there. And I've always wondered, like, would I recognize it? Like, would I see that area and be like, oh my God, that's actually where I'm from? Or do people just seek it out and then they say it? And this is a perfect example of me like seeing something and I was like, wait, hang on a second. This looks really familiar.
That's the place.
Soy face.
See,
Soy
my
Jack.
most recent one was when we realized that two of the people from Love After Lockdown, who were from Ellsbury, had driven out to St. Peter's and had a nice little dinner on the town. And my friends are sitting there watching the episode and we're like geolocating what strip mall has a Subway and a Pizza Hut next to each other. And I'm like, it's that one. It's Arios. They were at fucking Arios. They were 5 minutes away from me. Just to really dox my location. But
wait, you've had Arios, right?
Oh yeah.
The pizza? Times.
It's pretty good.
It's all right. Pretty good, bro. Right. Okay.
I personally, Fratelli's over off Sunbelt, because that pizza is way better. I'm just gonna say it.
Okay, we're gonna draft pizza places in the greater St. Louis area. Okay.
Emo's number one based.
Well, so number one is Stefanina's, I think.
No, maybe. Sam and I have gone. Actually, I don't know where we currently stand because we went through a phase where we bounced back between Cecil's and Stefanina's recently.
weren't you were a Papa John's guy anyway, right? Or were you an Emos guy?
Wait, delivery?
What, you worked at one for a while.
Yeah, Papa. I worked at Papa for like 3 or 4 months.
Oh, months.
Yeah. That shit
Wait a
sucked.
second.
Because that shit was fucking horrible.
Hang
because
on.
I didn't
just
get more than
connected
2
the
shifts
universe. This is the one that's across from Fritz's, right? That was the one that you worked at?
Uh-huh.
My mind just like got exploded into oblivion because I knew that. Okay, do you remember a couple episodes back where we were talking about the Eskimo Bro situation?
Yeah.
I knew that this person worked at that location, but I was picturing it as the emos down the street. I don't know why. Like,
Oh,
I don't
that's
know why.
funny. I didn't know they ever worked there.
I thought that's what you said.
No. I was working there and I delivered to their house.
To them. Okay.
Yes, on my first shift.
No, never mind.
Oh, that was a horrible first shift.
Shout out to X whatevers. Anyway.
Yeah, we're both not like functionally committed and family men now or anything. Don't worry about us thinking about past flames that we have weird connections
Yeah,
through.
rekindling those fires real nice.
Yeah, honestly, I've heard that person has
We're done.
deep
No.
a little.
No more.
That's enough. That's enough of that.
They got involved in local politics. That was
I
actually
saw
pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting seeing their takes, which were fucking insane.
It was like Twitter, but with a person that I actually know instead of like an analog.
And really
That's what it
saying
felt
those
like.
words out
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of, I saw my first instance of actual hate speech on Twitter finally after everyone's been talking
Hell
about how much,
yeah.
dude, it was bad. I was like, wow, that is major transphobia. Holy shit.
There's a couple people that have been cataloging like Elon Musk's like quote tweets and stuff.
Yeah.
And excuse me, I don't know how this is happening. It must be that there was.
Doesn't he have like
Go
an alternate account where he's commenting like he's like a baby or something?
I don't maybe because that sounds fucking hilarious. No, he's on main. Dude is commenting on main, and he'll just put like, or wow, I did not know this, but it'll just be like the most mundane like. Did you know that black people have committed 13% of like, you know, it's like really racially dog whistly or anti-Semitic dog whistly stuff, and he's just like, wow, more people should know about this.
Are you really
he's like,
surprised that the weird European white guy is like fucking weird and has weird political opinions?
Listen, I hate the guy and I hate the dickhead things that he's doing. He's Tesla's base. SpaceX is really cool, but like him as a person.
Yeah, shout out Hassan's brother for building that rocket.
Despite all of my like distaste for him, I always thought that he was relatively like center left. Not like I'm a what did Jordan Peterson call himself? He was always like, oh, I would
an
consider
asshole.
myself more of a.
I've never listened to. The only words I've ever listened to from Jordan Peterson were the one where you told me not too long ago about how I should not go into conversations assuming people know nothing and that they have something of value always to add.
You know what? If I had my copy of 12 Rules for Life, I would read some of the chapters out because there's actually good words of wisdom there. But I lent it to an immigrant friend of mine.
Balthazar comes out and he starts.
I'm pretty sure that he just burned the fucking book and thought that I was a Nazi. But he went back to Brazil or wherever he was from. Dude, this was okay. I got to tell this story.
Go for it,
man.
man.
We're doing a night on the town.
Okay.
And we end up at an IHOP at like 2 a.m.
Who doesn't?
But we like strike up conversation with our Uber driver and we're like, you want to come in and eat with us? And he's like, oh yeah, sure, that's fine. And so like he came in and he sat down and had breakfast and like I'm pretty buzzed, but like I'm a little confrontational when I'm drunk and I was a little less like couched in my opinions and stuff. And so we had a conversation about like men in the world and women. And this was like 4 or 5 years ago when I was
am I right?
close to
Femoids.
I was definitely much more anti-SJW than I was. Femoids, true.
That's
but anyway, like
that's
I get his
for sure.
I get his number, and then we like get tacos one night. And I'm like, you know, there's this guy named Jordan Peterson. He was like a really big inspiration for the conversation we had the other day, and he's having a talk like in a few weeks. Do you want to come with me? And I brought this dude to it, and it was like I could feel like the separation between us just like growing and growing as this thing went, because it was like an interesting thing, but I don't think he knew what he was signing up for. And there also, it wasn't like people were Sig Heiling or some shit at this thing. Like it was basically just Jordan Peterson masturbating on stage and Dave Rubin like, you know, cleaning up the driplets and stuff. But like, yeah. But like it was just.
Be
I
checking
was
the
really-
timestamp to see if we're gonna get demonetized for that joke.
Yeah,
Nope,
true.
we're good. We're good.
We're fine. Just keep pushing.
We're past the first
But
3
anyway-
minutes. We're fine.
But anyway, I ended up letting him have my copy of 12 Rules for Life that I bought.
Yeah.
And then he like ended up moving back to his home country, and we were supposed to meet up for him to give me back the book, and he never did. So then he
took
said he
it.
would send it to me. I think he burned it. I think he just fucking like lit it on fire. Threw
He's
it out
like,
the
yeah,
window
let me
or
get that
something.
right back to you.
Yeah.
Throws it in the trash right behind him
Yeah.
when he says that. Yeah, dude. Well, that's based as fuck. No, I mean, I appreciate that you have an opinion of not taking a right-wing figure and just immediately demonizing them and like finding value. Because I think that's the kind of appropriate opinion to actually have in this world. Because I know there's people who hear Jordan B. Peterson's name, and they just immediately want to be like, no, nothing. I mean, he's fine comparatively. But to dig back on that Elon thing really quick, I read about this today. Tucker versus Elon. Have you heard about this?
What's going. So
Tucker had recently announced that he is going to be launching a new show exclusively on Twitter
Yeah.
because it's the last bastion of free speech. Is what he said.
what the fuck is Rumble or like Truth Social? It's not.
Parler.
He's so full of shit.
Right.
Yeah, he's just like, this is the place where clicks are at, and this is where my
Elon
audience is
hasn't
at.
blatantly made a stance, but as one would imagine, advertisers will likely take a stance if this launch successfully goes off the way Mr. Carlson thinks it will.
I'm so annoyed by this advertiser war because it's like, if we still have active users on Twitter, it's gonna go to somebody.
Well,
and this
sure,
whole like
sure, but-
posturing of like, I'm not gonna support this audience with my advertising. It's like,
I mean, I kind of actually like think that's the right way to handle it. I mean, just support some data relating to other things on Twitter. When Elon took over, about 50%, a little around 50% of the top 100 advertisers on Twitter pulled out.
Sure, but where are they now? Are they back?
I don't know.
Let's take a look at where they are now, because I'm almost positive that it was a virtue signal to like keep their stock numbers up, and then they've slowly re-entered.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I also don't see, I think, nearly as many ads blatantly on Twitter as I used to, though, either. Like,
Sorry.
every
This
3 or
is what
4
we're going
tweets would
for.
be an ad. Oh, the baby's screaming, so the dog's talking now, too. This is my favorite. I love when they do this. It's okay, buddy. Your brother's fine. He's just being a baby. It's okay. Yeah, so this whole point of issue is basically whether or not Tucker will actually be able to successfully launch this new show on Twitter, and if he does, will Elon let it stand?
What grounds would he have to remove it? I mean, it's not like he necessarily needs to license it. It's like a free. You can.
Might
upload
I
content
cite
to
you the
platform.
dossier that was found from the Russian government a couple years ago, where they said that Tucker Carlson is a vital part of the Russian propaganda machine?
Okay, so you're saying that Elon Musk actually is principled about not wanting to disseminate Russian propaganda?
More so like if it's blatantly known that this could be misinformation, then like is he going to let that be an active?
Yeah, I mean, it would
consistent
be
thing?
really interesting.
Like
I
having
don't-
opinions that are racist and bigotry, like that's an opinion. It's not being cited with a fact or as a statement of that. But like, I mean, I'm sure you remember the COVID-19 like misinformation era when that first started, and there was this constant like, this is
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
deep state taking over, right?
Oh, okay, my
we've
bad.
lost right.
I should have known it was the deep state, my guy.
I mean, you fucking idiot! Did you not? Antarctica's a walled city. Don't you understand?
You know,
that
honestly,
the Mecca is on the other side.
Well, it's not that Antarctica's the walled city. It's like in the Truman Show, how it's just a wall that protects us from the
Yeah.
outside, where they're directing the TV show of the
Yeah.
7 billion
Of
people in the world.
The world, true.
Yeah,
Biggest cast
we're
ever.
all our each individual show. Ugh, I felt dirty saying that. That's gross.
There was a thought that I had. Did you know? No, this is a total skirt change. I want to stay on this for a
Skirt.
second. So I do think that there is something to Elon having a say in what's there and what's not there, but he would have to break some rules. And I don't know, like we've got the community note, like that's the badge of shame. Like if you get community noted on a tweet, like that's your.
I feel like
are you on
I
Twitter
feel
pretty
like-
often?
Yeah, every day,
Okay.
constantly.
I deleted it and then I ended up getting it back like 3 weeks later. But
Bro, I have had Twitter since 2008, and then when I don't know
I
if you
got
ever saw
banned.
this tweet. Oh, how did you get banned on Twitter? I've never did it. I've literally been on Twitter since the inception of Twitter, and I've never had a problem with anything
it was
on
my
my
account
account.
from 2013, and I responded with a meme GIF. You know how you can search Jiffy
Yeah.
in a response, and it was fucking who's the British PewDiePie, the
Jacksepticeye?
one that. No, he's the Irish PewDiePie. He's the blonde one. He's the blonde one. He's not. Oh my god. Anyway, it's a meme of him. He's like, I'm gonna give you 6 seconds to remove this, and he puts a magazine into a Glock. And then cocks it.
That's funny.
But I found it on Jiffy, and that was all that I responded, and I think I said like El No Sabe, and then like some dumb fuck reported me, and then I got permabanned, and I like tried to appeal, and they're like, we've determined that your activity is like
you were violent and malicious, motherfucker. Get out of here.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's on your. I didn't even post this myself. It's your platform. Anyway.
I just want to point out I had a whole like series of tweets talking about my name change on there because I had the same handle from the moment I started until when I started streaming. And it was literally like, I realized my Twitter handle was 13 years old. And I was like, my Twitter handle is a teenager, and now it's growing up and changing because I can do different things with this platform.
Growing.
And now I am Hey,
we'll
it's
see if
Dweeb.
it's a phase.
Instead of my old Twitter handle was Alec is brutal, and it was BR00TAL because you remember those days when you met me.
Yeah, true.
For those who don't know, I was a scene kid / emo kid, like straight up. Cookie cutter, Hot Topic, play guitar and band.
But you got that scene poon, dude, and I have yet to.
I had one stable girlfriend in high school, sir.
Okay.
That's scene poon. That was drama club, my good friend.
That's true. You were the scene kid in drama club. Okay,
I was.
You weren't the. Do you remember? Do you remember Chains? I can't think of another way to describe this. Do you remember Chains?
Oh yeah.
He had the long hair, and then he wore those pants that had and he would jingle down the hallway.
Mm-hmm. I know who you're talking about.
I think every high school has that one guy, right? That just has to have like the trench coat or the oversized
trench coat mafia,
pants
dude.
And the
kids who like Dylan Klebold and Eric, whatever is Eric. I don't know their names. The fucking the Columbine kids. They like them a little too much.
They used to be like edgy atheists.
Bro, do you
like
remember were you ever a Tumblr person?
A little bit.
I was never like a Tumblr user, but I was a Tumblr observer, and I just remember.
Let me clarify. Tumblr porn. I only made an account so that I could view the porn.
Yeah,
section,
that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I feel like Tumblr porn was just not being literate enough to use Reddit for porn, but that's another conversation for another day. Basically what I was going to say is that I remember there being like equivalent now we have the Pedro Pascal fan cam, but it was like these fan cams for fucking the Columbine shooters in like 2013, 2014. Like girls were like, they were just so misunderstood. And I'm like,
isn't that just
what?
Isn't Jeffrey Dahmer like that now? Who was the guy that
Dahmer
was recently
Evan,
and then somebody
was it Evan Peterson? No, it wasn't.
Somebody played another serial killer recently.
Zac Efron did that whole Ted Bundy thing too.
I think it was Ted Bundy, and everyone was like, oh yeah,
he just killed 36 women. Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I was 37.
God, I hate the fetishization of fucking horrible people. Like, imagine someone was just like, hey, I want to fuck Benito Mussolini. Like,
I want to fuck H, dude. I wish that little tiny mustache would be rubbing against my
I used to make this joke all the time, but like I can't grow facial hair between the top of my lips, so if me and Hitler kissed, it would be a perfect beard.
You're the yin yang.
We complete each other.
Yeah, true.
6 million.
Oh my god.
Okay. I gotta be honest with you. Sam was just like, oh my god, did you realize 3 million people died? I'm like, 3 million Jews, 6 million in total, the gypsies too. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, dude, the Holocaust was just like the worst thing that's ever happened in human history. No big deal. She's like, yeah, like someone on TikTok posted like a video. They had like screenshots from like a museum. And I was just like, she's like, it just gave me like a bad feeling and chills. And I'm like, yeah, it's just like the systemic erasure of like an entire society and generation of people. No big deal.
You want to hear some fucked up shit? I've heard this from multiple people.
All right.
That the Jew, this is not this is not
Zionist
what it
state.
Sounds like.
Have we finally hit the point? Have we hit the point now where we're going into the Zionist level of like conspiracy? It took us 62 episodes to get there. Have you heard this? That all conspiracy theories end in the anti-Zionist rhetoric.
Oh, it's the Jews that are doing X, Y, or Z.
I didn't say the Jews. I said anti-Zionist, but yeah, okay. On you.
Well, no. I don't agree. I don't subscribe to that at all.
I don't either. It's just funny.
There's a weird belief in Catholic. Oh my god, I can't think of the word. Fucking, it's doctrine? The study. It's the study of Catholic doctrine. There's a
Yeah.
theology, Catholic
Yeah.
theology.
Yeah.
That the Jewish people are destined to suffer, and that the Holocaust was like a natural, like, not like they deserve it, but like their people are cursed and they always have been, and like the story of the Bible follows their people, and like this was just another
the Jewish curse,
incarnation.
if you will.
Yeah,
But
which
I have
never heard that before.
I have heard that one time. Okay, for the record, I was raised Catholic, and there was a point in my 20s where like I was very anti in high school, very anti post high school, and then there was a point where I was like, I will try faith again. As I was going to like a college campus to go with college students to mass and doing things
Maybe
like that.
Maybe it'll be different
than,
this time.
It was fun.
Maybe they won't stick their dick in my mouth this time.
Listen. That only happened. Okay, funny enough story. There was a Christmas where our priest was like announced on Christmas Day Mass that he was like having accusations brought up against him currently. Like, what a fucking way, dude. Being like, all right, Jesus
was born and I am under investigation for pedophilia.
Like you might
see you next week.
You might see somebody outside, you might see the media, do not engage with them. Just know that I never did this, blah blah blah. And then, like a year later, he was proud to announce that he was found, like nothing was found, and it was
not
just
guilty.
a false claim. And
the
this
kid was
the
never to be
craze of
seen
it.
again.
Well, this kid was like an adult, and it was like 20 years ago, and all this other shit. I don't know. Horrible.
Okay,
Probably
anyway.
actually did happen anyways.
Yeah. He probably paid him off.
No,
they built a new roof again.
One single time I have ever heard someone kind of spout that kind of doctrine and thought, and they were not very well respected amongst the peers of that group. So I think it's very much an offshoot kind of thing.
There's an interesting like thought to follow with that. Like,
sure,
it really brings into question like what is anti-Semitic and what isn't, because you could very quickly go to like the statement of like this is the natural trajectory of their people, as there's no like moral inclination. There's no like they deserved it there.
Well, yeah, it's divine intervention at this point. God is smiting them.
Yeah, you're basically like following the puzzle pieces of history and then singling out one group of people to like say this is what happens. But
yeah, so that's what I like to call parallelism in conspiracy. It's essentially that kind of thing where you see these little dots on a graph, right? And there's no real line to connect them, but if you fucking squint hard enough at it, you can start to see a pattern and be like, well, you see, it's kind of an yeah.
Or if you have enough Holy Spirit in you.
Yeah, dude, I'm rizzed up with the holy jism. But
okay, wait. So go ahead.
Go. Ask your question. You're good.
I think you answered it. You went to the college campus as an adult, and that's where it came up, and they were kind of ostracized for that.
I mean, essentially, yeah. Which honestly, out of the period of any time I've spent being faithful in some way to a certain dialect of religion, that was probably one of my better times because it was much more an open setting. You could discuss with your peers like different thoughts and all these things. It had opportunities to like sit down with a priest after mass, and like he would just like answer questions if you just wanted to, like amongst the group of people, and it was like really nice to be able to do that. And then having someone answer a question in open forum like that, and like he's just like shuts that shit down. I was just like, hey, that's good, because it's essentially what it is in my opinion, when someone spouts that kind of ideology around the theology of Catholicism, is a great way to veil your bigotry and your hatred. Yeah, which the J-Man would not be about. For the record, true. That dude is literally about loving everybody. Like,
but I think that we should like also remove like dog whistles from our vocabulary. Like I think that would be this is totally ripped from D. Just because like. For example, what it does is it gives people power, and then it gives that audience like the ability to laugh at the crazy lefties for like falling for traps. So like, do you remember the OK symbol thing that people were doing? That was like somehow a white supremacist thing, and people were like then going through decades of footage to like find it and stuff. Like, or like All Lives Matter was also a dog whistle for white supremacy, but like you don't necessarily have to take the argument there. You could just be like, okay, sure, yeah, all lives matter. I agree. I think Black Lives Matter too, but all lives matter. And then their argument is like, they don't really have anything. They're like trying to get a reaction out of
that one.
And then if they take it but if they take it the next step and then they say, okay, well, I think Black Lives Matter less than white people, it's like, now we can go, motherfucker. Now you've like shown yourself, because otherwise what you're doing is you're fighting against a phantom that they haven't even owned yet. They might actually believe the second step, but
there's a problem with that idea for me, particularly around the All Lives Matter argument.
Insert other dog whistle.
Well, I think other dog whistles are actually like valid other dog whistles. I think that one in particular is actually like, I think people are really ignorant and they don't actually do their like research of why something started. But like, brother, All Lives Matter started as a counter movement to Black Lives Matter. That's the problem. That is the fundamental problem with it.
So what if someone's saying it? They're not spouting like anti-black stuff. They're probably just following along with like some other people.
Okay, hang on. There's that version of it. Yes, there's most people who aren't, right? But there's also a level of ignorance. And I don't mean that they are ignorant people. I mean ignorant by the definition of what it is, which is a lack thereof.
They just lack knowledge. Sure.
Exactly.
But I don't think you should punish someone which accusing them of being a white supremacist in a conversation about that subject matter would be punishing them. Yeah. So that's why
I'm not saying that. I think that's where you kind of vet the thing and you go, okay, what kind of person am I dealing with here? And you're not trying to bait them into something. You're trying to have a discussion ultimately. And that's where you can have that conversation with someone and go, well, it's not that I don't respect what you're trying to say, which is that all lives matter and, you know, if whatever. But then the very good counter argument, which the time comes to, well, if Black Lives Matter less by standard of the virtue of things that have occurred in history, then how can all lives matter if this one particularly is more marginalized?
Yeah, true. Yeah, so what you're saying is incorrect just based on the facts if this one group of people has been kept under.
It's not even a matter of incorrect. It's just that it's using their own argument of they're saying, I respect everyone equally and all this stuff. Or I think I hate everybody the same. I loved that one. I hate everyone the same. Yeah, and I was just like, okay, based, true. But also, can you not acknowledge that there is a civil injustice based upon the level of inequality? That there is an argument to be made that your argument is flawed fundamentally.
Yeah.
It's that you're not seeing it through that lens. It's not that I'm saying that, yes, there is a little bit of dog whistling on it, because the big thing with dog whistling is not so much that like, it's really that if you're using it as a way that it's loaded to try to bait the person into being
I know, but
aligned.
it's just it doesn't seem fruitful at this point in our discussion. Like we've had the conversations enough, I think, to where we can honestly just engage with the layer beneath it, and we can just like accept for the temporary discussion if you're in an argument with someone on the opposing side, like if they say that, they're obviously trying to get a rise out of you or trying to bait you down like some distracting thing and not actually talk about the real shit, and then just accept it and then be ready for the next layer, be ready to like fight them on the next round of what
I agree with what you're saying fundamentally. I think we're both saying the same thing just in different ways essentially. Where it's a matter of like getting to that next part of the engagement, whether that be the positive engagement where you're trying to talk about it in a healthy way, or you're trying to get to the deep shit where it's like, you kind of fucking are a racist, bro.
Yeah. And so that differs based on like the what's happening in the conversation. So if it's you and another person having it out in a group of like 10 people, you're probably less trying to like reach that person as opposed to like signal to everyone else like why his idea is dumb. Yeah. But if it's just like a one-on-one, like you're probably really trying to like meet in the middle, and so you'll be a little more charitable and stuff. Imagine like having 7,000 people watching you discuss something and like having the peanut gallery like.
You know, I saw a fun Twitter interaction today between one of my favorite Marvel Snap creators who also does political stuff. His name's Jeff Hoogland, and he was talking about how he was in another streamer's chat, and it felt like he was virtue signaling in a way about how like this other streamer did not. Someone made an opinion that was like right-winged and kind of charged, and they said that, and then someone else told him to shut up, and then he criticized the streamer for getting mad at the person for telling him to shut up and not getting mad at the guy who's spouting hate speech. And then he didn't even say the streamer's name, and then the person saw it and started engaging with him, and they went back and forth, and it was a whole bunch of bullshit. And I'm just like, wow, I'm so glad I don't blatantly do politics on my platform, because this shit is fucking stupid.
It's just the most like, it's a very weird niche position which I don't know if you've ever seen. Okay, this is the Destiny in me coming out. Have you ever seen Dr. Avi's Discord server, the debate Discord server?
Yeah.
It is like the most pedantic, like everything is the most important thing, and we're going to talk for the next 2 hours about what you meant when you said these exact words in order. Like it's just the most holy shit.
I mean,
it's
I would be lying to not admit that sometimes I do personally get pedantic and like kind of hold people the exact way they said something.
This whole culture,
but it's the entire thing of it.
Yeah. That whole culture that's in that specific Discord server that like bleeds out into some of this online politics stuff. Because there's different ways that you can engage with it. You can want to change minds. You can want to advocate for something that you believe in. You can like want to challenge or learn yourself, or you can like want to jerk off how like intelligent you are and make the other person look dumb. Like, those 6 different ways spin off into a million different like interpretations based on whoever's talking, and it's just like
absolutely.
I think the point. I'm a practicalist. My dad and I always get into these fucking arguments because he is an idealist. So he thinks the important thing is like fighting for the most ideal version of whatever you're saying, so that you can inspire the masses to like start working towards that, and then accept like things down the road.
Bro,
And
I can't even get
that-
the masses to get to work. Like, let alone getting unemployment's not that bad anymore, is it? I don't know.
No, it's
bad.
It's actually it's bad for the other reason. We have so many open spots, and people are filling jobs elsewhere. Like, I think we're like at a 6-year low for unemployment or something. Like unbelievable. Like, and industries are still hurting because people have found ways to make money elsewhere that is not in service of the jobs that are needing it still.
Yeah.
So like my grocery store in particular, located in 45. I'm just kidding. We have open management and assistant management positions, 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Like 4 different positions, and then we are in need of staff, and we're constantly losing people because they're off doing their own fucking thing. And it's a grocery store.
Yeah.
It's not like a fucking like a Blockbuster, or like a.
Do you think this could be cited by inadequate pay and benefits being offered?
I don't think so, because they have really competitive offers and stuff, and it's not like this job sucks, and it's not like the company's bad.
Yeah.
Like it is very much just that like the talent is elsewhere. There are a lot of people that are working other jobs that are more fulfilling for them. Because I mean, it's hard work, and it is kind of like it's not bottom of the barrel. It's not a fast food joint. Like, in order to last in that industry, you have to be somewhat of a decent worker.
I don't think that grocery stores whatsoever bottom of the barrel. I think that I knew people who were going through layoffs in 2020, and they were getting jobs that would pay them better than their jobs they got let go from. Or
Sure.
put on
Okay. Let me
to even work in grocery stores.
Let me couch this, because I think you and I agree on like when I say like a low skilled job, I think you and I both mean the same thing. I'm not talking about the worth of the person. I'm just
low
talking
barrier
about
of entry.
Yeah, the replaceability of that individual.
Absolutely, yeah.
More people can be trained for that thing. And so when I say bottom of the barrel, it is morally loaded. But what I'm talking about is just the expected turbulence of stuff. Like there's layers to that. A doctor is going to be a doctor for 40 years, probably at the same practice. You're not going to see a lot of turnaround. A McDonald's like cashier, I think everyone has done that in their life. Yeah, it could be gone tomorrow and replaced by like possibly 6 other people. So this is like on a second or third tier. Yeah, true. Yeah. Which, I mean, fuck 16-year-olds. They should just work anyway, and they shouldn't make any money. They should just have to work. That's what I think.
Yeah, let's make all high school students slave labor.
True, based. I mean, they're already making kids work, so fuck it.
I mean, yeah. I don't know about that actually, but that'd be kind of based.
Well, unless we're going to lower the voting age, they are paying into the tax system without having equal representation. So there's some fucky shit going on with them.
Absolutely.
Right?
But then again, they also get to like not pay rent, so fuck them kids. They don't have a mortgage. They don't got fucking rent. They might have a car payment. Like the most responsible people you knew in high school were the kids who already had their own car payment and credit card. Because they like put their money wisely in that. Those are the most responsible people, right? Even then they weren't that responsible because they had a lot of expendable income.
The one person that I knew that was living on his own, had his own car and shit, is like back with his parents and like got himself into like 80 grand of debt.
Well, we're in a recession, brother.
No, it was through dumb decisions.
Absolutely.
He had a new iPhone every year. He was
Why have an inferior product when you can just have an Android?
Oh, don't get me
started. It's the blue
text
message. It's the blue text message. All right, let's move on from that. Let's dude, that weird cult mentality around that shit. Ugh, gross. Never could be me. Let's talk about something actually more important than the nature of high school age
slave labor.
Let's talk about the Writers Guild of America strike, brother. That shit has been roaring on for weeks now.
I don't know how I feel about that. I haven't done any reading, but this is basically like they do this every 6 or 10 or 15 years or something.
Yeah, they did it during Scrubs most recently in the last season.
And this is because there's a guild that represents all of the writers in Hollywood. and negotiates their contracts with the big industry.
The big thing that's been cited recently is that they are outsourcing outside of the guild because of like the Netflix deals where they're getting like original content directly, and it's just really shit writing that's not going through like the guild whatsoever, being approved and then creating that. So they're undercutting the people who could be writing, who are affiliated with the guild, and they're going to people who are not affiliated with the guild. I.e., like this, the big example I can think of is like when Power Rangers was a non-union production until this year.
Okay.
Like that's kind of a big thing. Non-union productions, right? So it's a union essentially. Okay. What I thought was really good was the guy, the Adam Explains It All dude. He was on Hassan's stream. God,
he's so fucking soy.
He is. However,
hate that motherfucker.
I hate him too for his content. However, when he was on Hassan's stream and he was explaining their disposition as the guild, and he was like interacting, I actually liked what he had to say. Like comparatively to all, I hate his shows. I hate his fucking internet show. But holy shit, when he was actually talking about like, hey, we are walking up and down the street because they were shutting down a Marvel production. No one cited which Marvel production it is. People are speculating it might be related to the Blade production, which fuck, that's like the one I'm excited for. Like, god damn it, why does it have to be that one?
You don't like Wasp Dick Man coming out in 2025?
Whoa, listen, man. Ant-Man and the Wasp is actually good. Shut the fuck up. I watched Quantum Mania like 2 weeks ago.
I'm sorry. I'm just talking about the next iteration after they have to come up with a new character.
First off, her name is Stature. It's their kid. I don't know if you know this. I'm actually like a huge Marvel fanboy, not just for that. Like I read the comics, so like,
Well, yeah. So
I have no fair opinion. I actually like Marvel.
I'm a shitter who has never watched a Marvel movie other than like Iron Man 1, maybe. I think I made it all the way through. I thought it was pretty good.
It was fine. It was fine for what it was.
I definitely didn't see Infinity Wars. Once like the Marvel Universe became a thing, it was just like, like I think I need to see Super Soldier. Or Winter Soldier, I think that's like one of the best ones. You
will like that one because it is so much less than is a Marvel movie. It is just a straight up action movie. So like you don't have to have that kind of attachment to like what's going on.
Yeah, and then like WALL-E 2 Renewed also was part of the WALL-E 2 another universe. I don't know. I'm just making shit up.
You're done. You're done.
Okay.
No.
They were speculating it was Blade. Got it.
Possibly. But basically, the writer strike goes on. Drew Barrymore's pulled out of hosting the MTV Movie and TV Awards in support of the strike. What was the other thing I saw that was in relation to it? De Niro's having his 7th kid at 79. That has nothing to do with the strike, but God, that guy fucks.
Right. He fucks a lot.
Oh, okay. So here's where I wanted to go with this. But most interestingly, amongst the current release of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 being the hot Marvel movie in theaters.
Yeah.
One, James Gunn has gone on the record because, he's the director of all those movies, and people are citing that the reason the Guardians movies are good is because they are James Gunn movies first and Marvel movies second, which I would actually agree with. But he's also, taking over the DC extended universe. I don't really care that much about that, but good for him.
Okay.
Basically, he cited in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, there was a story told by the Collector, a character that was played by, super famous actor.
Yeah, it was Tony Stevenson, right?
Yeah, maybe. Stanley Tucci.
Yes, Tony Stantucci. Okay.
Actually, he was in the first Iron Man, which is kind of fucked up. He dies. Anyways.
James Gunn.
So basically, James Gunn, there's a story told about the Infinity Stones, right? And the Infinity Stones are the things that make up the gauntlet Thanos uses, which is this greater Marvel grand universe you're talking about.
This was what like kind of laid the groundwork for the multiverse.
Quite literally, yes. Yeah. Quite literally laid the plans for everything from 2014's Guardians onward and how they approached Thanos and all that shit. Well, it turns out James Gunn in an interview revealed that little shit story he wrote it in like 90 minutes and just made most of it up. He had some source material, obviously, to work with, being like Infinity Quest and, Thanos doing some of these similar things before. But like, yeah, this man basically made up a bunch of shit and then it set the course for like 7 years of movies in the largest film franchise of all time.
It's kind of crazy. So I was going to ask you, like, I don't know how updated the Marvel movies are to the canon comics because they're still coming out with like stuff, right?
Okay, so God, without getting too fucking weird with it, but basically the main Marvel universe that you would know is like Marvel 616, which is like the comic canon. There is a series of comics that is more similar to the MCU, and that is a different multiverse.
No,
essentially,
okay.
with them.
What I'm just asking
So
is
they're not
anything
all
that's
the
got
same. They're not equivalent. Is what I was
anything
trying to
that's
say.
got Marvel's stamp on it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that pulling from stuff that was written 30 years ago or in the past 10 years?
Not
or...
necessarily. There's nothing that's
Okay.
being. There's usually things that are references to different comic runs. A really good example is there's a scene in Iron Man 2 where Tony's like drunk and gets into a fight with Rhodey, and that's that kind of is like an homage to the Devil in a Bottle storyline.
So these are
that
not adaptations of
No,
comic book.
they are
lines.
not one
They're-
for one
They're just
at all.
pulling from. They're just pulling from.
They might
sections
reference
of the
source
stuff.
material, but
Yeah.
they make it more appropriate to. Because let me tell you this: if they one for one did a story, they would have no one watching the fucking movies other than major fans, because it's not for the normie, to be honest.
Okay.
You know, like these
Yeah,
stories are
I
not.
think so. Yeah, it seems like it's a little bit too. Well, you might be able to like put a. What is it called when it's a run? Like there's a series of
A run, yeah, it's a good.
a
term.
run.
So okay, let me
You
give you a good
could-
example of it. There's the Captain America Civil War movie that came out like 6-7 years ago, right? It was when him and Iron Man. It goes around the Civil War storyline, and the fundamental thing that does happen, that is like one for one in the story, is Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, is framed for the murder of King T'Chaka, which is his son T'Challa, the Black Panther. Okay, so
Okay.
he's framed for his murder, which then starts this whole thing towards this superhero registration act. And basically, there's two sides of the people who are pro the registration act, people who are different, and that is where the similarity in the story ends. Everything else is completely like kind of winged differently for the movie, thing, because like Spider-Man's a major player from the get-go in that storyline.
Yeah,
and
and he only
Spider-Man was
shows up
first
in-
introduced. What the fuck? My dog just threw his toy and knocked a pop figure down. You skate.
Don't you disrespect the fucking Marvel universe, bro? That's what
Yeah,
he
he's
said.
pissed, bro. He's
I'll
not
fuck
having
you
it.
up.
He said, "How dare you disrespect James Gunn like that?"
Actually, Cheeto dust spewing from his keyboard.
Mountain
fingers.
Dew
If
going
you
from his
didn't
nose.
know. Yeah, Mountain Dew.
But yeah, like there's just so many differences you couldn't even get into it at the end of the day. But like I feel like they recontextualize and make them more palatable for the general public.
Sure. The reason I ask this is because
And well, what I was gonna say is the run of comics for Civil War not only was 7 issues for Civil War, but it was actually over about 120 issues across different comics, like the individual stories being told. So that is like over a year of comics. They could never
In one
condense
movie.
that into. They could never condense it effectively into one movie.
Yeah,
It would be it would be worse than everything they've done to the Harry Potter or the Lord of the Rings franchises.
well, so there's like a limit then on like you could keep making a new Spider-Man movie every couple of years, and I think like what was the cartoon one? I think that one was pretty based, right? Into the Spider-Verse.
The second one comes out next month.
I heard the first one was fucking awesome.
It's
and then,
one of the best animated movies probably of all time. Yeah.
yeah.
There's
but,
actually
like,
go ahead. I want to talk about something really cool about that movie in a minute, though.
but like Ant-Man, like come on, I don't know.
I'm not even gonna get it. Okay. First
I've
off,
never-
my brother Ant-Man has been maligned by the Marvel universe, the MCU, because Ant-Man was the guy who founded the original fucking Avengers. It's just because they've rewrote history.
I
Everyone's like, who's Ant-Man?
just look at Batman. Like Marvel did such a good job with Batman. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, man. All right, here's a cool fact about that Spider-Verse movie you were talking about. So,
Yeah.
Miles Morales is the main focal point of that Spider-Man movie. He is like the other Spider-Man. He's the newer Spider-Man, okay?
Okay.
Peter Parker comes in at different points. So, most animation is done at 24 frames per second. Mm-hmm. Okay? However, older animations, like more hand-drawn things back in the day, Steamboat Willie was done at 12 frames per second. Something that is going on in that movie, if you go back and watch it, you can even notice it actually a little bit. But Miles Morales not really coming into his own yet, kind of being unsure, his origin story, like building up into being a more effective Spider-Man. He, throughout the beginning of the movie, is animated at 12 frames per second, while all the other Spider-Men who show up are animated at 24, where they are more fluid and more like with it. Their actions match their body more. And as he progresses through the story, and when he comes into his own and has his moment of self-realization, he begins to effectively move at 24 frames per second, symbolizing the growth of his character.
Do you think there's a gradient from like 12 to 24? Like if you paused in the middle, would it be like it's 17 frames a second, or
No.
that'd be kind of cool. It like crescendos.
17.5.
It's like yeah, it's like 20, 12,
Well, there is cool things
13,
they do with it where like
16.
Peter is helping him, like he's like, here, do this, and he like starts working with them, and he like is seen effectively working with Peter at 24 frames per second, but then when he goes to do it, he's like, "No, let me try on my own." And he goes back to 12 essentially because he's fucking up and doesn't know what to do.
That's
with his
cool.
body.
I need to see that movie. I have
Into
a
the
lot of
Spider-Verse
stuff to
was
watch.
great, and like I said, the second one comes out next month, so that's actually probably going to be fucking based too.
Okay.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Speaking of, I had a homework assignment. I did end up watching Eat the Rich. So something that I did watch that I said I was going to watch, unlike all the other fucking things that I say I'm going to check out.
Nice.
I was very surprised with the things that they did. They gave a lot of like room for the conspiracy tinfoil hatters to express themselves, and then like immediately shot them down.
Yeah.
So there was like the bitch that was talking about the fucking what was it? Something Wall Street. Oh my God, it's the biggest protest.
Yeah.
Fucking.
I know what you're talking about.
And then there was like supposedly people popping champagne bottles and stuff. And
Yeah.
she was like, yeah, and we're all down here fighting for equality and, telling everyone how bad they did. And they're up there popping champagne and celebrating. And they're like, this was actually a party for a wedding event that happened.
Yeah.
It was totally unrelated. And I was like,
Yeah, I
thank
love
you.
that.
But also, if you've ever seen The Judge with Bryan Cranston, have you seen The Judge?
I have not.
Okay. It's about there's a lot of summation that I could do, but essentially he's a judge that has to compromise himself to protect his son because his son is involved in a hit and run for a mob boss in his town. And the son like gets away and there's an investigation into it and stuff. And so one thing he talks about in this series is how he's going to move the jury in his favor. And so what he starts doing is he starts agreeing with the opposition to the mob boss, whatever. He starts like acting on their side. And there's a scene where the mob boss confronts him. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, listen, you don't understand. If I just come out like steering towards you the whole time, they're going to sense that. I have to like lean into them. And then at the very last second, once they trust me, steer them towards you. And then that's what it'll do. So I'm thinking that I'm always cognizant of that. Like how much of this is you being like unbiased versus like showing me unbiased things that are easy gives for you, only to like sneak in the real shit after the fact,
I feel you.
Because that's like we're not computers that can like tally up like how much accuracy was there. But someone like me,
You mean tell me you're not a robot?
Someone that prove you're not a robot right now. Jizz right now on command. Somebody like me who's like really concerned with like unbiased like things. If I see an easy give like that, I'm already like my mouth is watering. Like put that cock in here, baby. So like that might be a thing that's like disarming me. But relatively speaking about this whole series, I thought it was pretty unbiased.
Fair enough. I actually finished a series that I want to talk to you about recently. So I've noticed a trend in uptick of TV shows and movies that are not Netflix based that are being created that have like no audience for them. Looking at You, Ghosted, featuring Ana de Armas and fucking what's that dude's name? The guy who played Captain America, whatever his name is. I don't fucking know his name anymore.
It's Captain America, of course.
Yeah, Steve Rogers. That's the one.
Yes, true.
Chris, whatever his name is. Okay, so
Chris Hemsworth.
That's not the one. That's Thor. Anyways, that movie, it's got an audience for no one. But there was a show I kept seeing advertised recently, and I was like, surely this show is not as good as people are making it out to be. And then I saw a YouTuber review it, and I was like, okay. So have you seen ads for the show Jury Duty? Heard
no, but wait, I think I've seen a scene from it.
Yes, probably.
Is there the one guy that like has the ass crutches?
Yes,
and he like
that is the one. Yes, no, that's chair pants. It's their chants, if you will. So the premise of this show, it's on Freevee for the record, which is the free platform Amazon launched earlier this year. Basically, if you don't want to pay for a Prime subscription but want to watch Wheel of Time, you can now watch Wheel of Time and watch ads in between every few minutes.
Great, like Hulu. But for Amazon.
I mean, I pay for Hulu Premium, dog.
The internet is now DirecTV, in case you haven't noticed.
I was like, okay, I will never watch this because it's on Freevee. And Freevee is a program where they're always going to have ads. I don't want to fucking watch ads. Like, I straight up will pay for a streaming service for the better version of it to not have ads in my face. However, I saw the chair pants, and I saw one other scene. And I was like, what the fuck is this show? So it's a mockumentary where it's a fake trial, and every person aside from one guy is an actor. So the plaintiff, the defendant, the lawyers, the judge, everybody's an actor. And they have James Marsden of X-Men and Sonic the Hedgehog fame in there too. And he's playing himself. So like, they also have the guy who plays the sanitation guy from Parks and Rec in the show. So like, my one friend was saying like, how did he not know this is fake by having two actors?
Yeah, true.
But this
Two
guy's
actors
just
in there.
not recognizable enough. But basically, yeah, the premise is that they're in this jury duty situation, and it's going through like the whole premise of the whole trial, and it's a great show. It's so fucking good. Like I was hoping that since we have a Prime subscription, that I was like going to be able to just go to Prime and watch it on there without ads. But it's like no, free ads with freebie, so you still had to watch ads. And I was like, all right, I have never had a show that demanded ads of my time where I'm like, I got to see what's going to happen next.
Except for
now.
High School Musical too.
Well, that was the day of where there was no streaming services. This was the dark ages, my son.
True. My sweet summer
when
child.
Netflix still did DVDs. But yeah,
Okay,
I highly recommend it. You and Rachel will probably get a fucking kick out of it. Sam and I watched it all in a day. Like it's 8 episodes.
Okay.
They're half an hour. They're super funny.
I gotta finish Better Call Saul. I have to finish, which I'm past the like prequel, and now I'm in like the tail end. So this is where shit. Wait, you've seen all of it? Season 6 is on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
Better Call Saul.
I've seen all of Better Call. Yeah.
So, fucking holy shit, dude!
What
so
show?
many like, it's like a. I think I told you that the fucking True Detective is probably the best series of television that I've ever seen. Season 1, and I don't think you ever watched it.
No, I don't think I did.
That's your homework. You need to watch.
We'll see.
True Detective season 1. I'm not kidding you.
I'll genuinely consider it.
Some of the best cinematography, one of the better storylines. Only season 1. Fuck everything else.
That's
about
a Dutch angle.
What? No,
I'm making light of like. I have the film.
I'm just like, okay. There's a 15-minute single take scene.
Oh, that's sick.
Like Matthew McConaughey coked up. Like it's just. I can't ruin too much about it, but it's
what they say
about
girls.
So
same
anyway,
age and IQ getting old.
I thought you were gonna say it was like Reno 911, like it was all staged, but the fact that it's one person feels like a Nathan For You situation. It feels like
yeah, kind of. It's like yes, and it's not that like it's blatantly obvious they know all like they're all actors, but like almost to a point with these people playing the characters they are. Like the chair pants guy, he's part of like the transhumanist rights organization. Where he's cybernetic attachments, something like that. Like that guy, you just kind of you get so immersed in the show and what they're trying to tell you story wise that you kind of forget that these are all actors at a certain point, other than James Marsden. So that was funny. There's also a soaking scene, which was just fucking chef's kiss hilarious.
You're talking soaking like Mormon
soaking.
soaking.
Yes.
For those that don't know, it's inserting, but no movement after.
But if someone comes in and jumps on the bed,
kicks the bottom of your mattress from underneath,
then it's not. God won't know.
Unless you get her pregnant, and then you get kicked off of your Mormon college basketball team.
Dude, I hated when I got off the fighting the Cavaliers.
True.
My Mormon basketball team that I got kicked off of. I tell you what.
One quick thing before we wrap it up.
Donald Trump got found liable of sexual assault. What?
Okay, there's like 2 or 3 important things, but mine is the most important because I'm saying it.
We sprinkled that one in.
So, in case you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, a civil case only requires a preponderance of evidence, which means more likely than not, as in 51% likely, not beyond a reasonable doubt, which is like 95.
It's also not guilty or guilty. It's liable or not liable.
Yeah. And
which,
so,
by the way, jury duty covers a civil case. Woo.
He was proven to have slandered her by calling her a ugly. What did he say?
I don't know, dude. I knew it was all going downhill when on Sunday, basically, when it was announced that like his lawyer team had not submitted to the court by like a 5 p.m. time period that he was going to be taking the stand to testify. So I knew he just didn't show up. Yeah, I just knew he was fucked from that point on. He was just not going to testify, so he had no chance.
Yeah. So her word. This is what you red pillars are talking about is wrong with the world. Is that woman? She could have made it all up, and she got a $5 million check out of it. Can you imagine a bag like that?
I also just saw the clip of talking about like how Donald was just like, well, historically speaking, yeah, you as a celebrity, you can grab him by the pussy.
Historically speaking,
Well, for better or for worse, historically
For better
speaking,
or for
it's likely true.
it's
Jesus fuck, dude.
watching him in a deposition, dude. It's
Amazing.
He just can't. He
I mean,
can't speak.
he didn't lie under oath. I'll say
True.
that. He was honest.
He spoke his mind. The one thing that I wanted to touch on was Google's recent summit, because they got absolutely ass clap cheeked by Microsoft when Microsoft released their AI search engine, which was completing results for you and then providing you not just like suggestions with like blown up like website sections, but the search engine was actually answering for you, similar to a Chat GPT, which if you haven't tried Chat GPT, you need to fucking try it out right now. Every person who's listening
We
right
were
now,
using Chat GPT to write a script for something at work yesterday.
it's fucking it helped me with an Excel sheet for a problem that I was doing. It gave me recipes. It gave me calorie intakes.
Bro, we had it write an auto hotkey log. Like,
Yeah. It's just, there are so many use cases that you don't even think of until you're like, okay,
here's a
well,
fun
that's
thing.
good.
Did you know Chat GPT can't verify physical addresses? But
Interesting.
it can verify email addresses?
But you might be able to ask it to pretend to be a thing that would verify physical addresses, and then like there's ways you can argue it into pretending, so it's not actually doing it, it's just pretending it, and it gives you the same info.
Right.
But Google is now going to be deep throating AI into every product that they have,
Fuck yeah,
pretty much.
dude.
So they're going to be allowing a template for you to auto-generate emails coming up soon through Gmail. They're going to have something where you can upload your documents and it'll create presentations based off of it. They're going to have a study thing where you can like compile sources and then it'll generate like quizzes for you and shit. And then most importantly, it's going to alter the way that Google search is happening, where it is actually going to have a green text box. It's a light, a slight earthy green. It's not like fucking neon radioactive green.
Or Android bubble green, am I right?
True. Get the fuck out of here, Android. So
Whoa,
it's gonna have this section.
That's me.
It's gonna have this section where it's going to answer your question pretty much in itself. And then if you want to read more, you'll be able to click on the answer and then it'll take you to where it's sourcing that information from. And it's like it's cutting off like 80% of the page. So you only maybe see like one search result. And they have decided that their future is going to be less about providing answers and more about conversing. So Google is going with the times to adjust their what's it called? It's pretty crazy what's happening, because they're like about to be defunct if they don't adjust like what their thing is. Their whole business model is people search for a thing. My website gets redirected because I paid you the most money, and then that's what I pay Google for. Companies are paying Google to be the top search result. And if AI is going to be able to answer questions or provide like information, like services and stuff, there's no need for me to Google it anymore. So they need to change quick, and it looks like they're trying to.
Now, I have an important question for you about this here AI that we're going to implement into Google. How does this affect the legacy of Allen Iverson? The AI himself.
Did you say Allen Iverson?
No, that's the one.
It's
Allen
Iverson.
Ian
Iverson.
That's good. That's good shit. Yeah, no, like I wouldn't be remiss to say I did not come up with that bit on my own, and a viewer was like, "Hey, inevitably when Eski brings up AI next, make an Allen Iverson joke." I was like, "That's based." Sometimes they write them for me, baby.
We need a shot counter for every time it comes up. But I'm telling you guys, the world is changing, and we don't know it.
Now, something I had an interesting thought today that I'd like to share with you. So the nature of the earbud/headphone industry is like the epitome of the capitalist idea of they don't make these things to last anymore. To the extreme. Because every wireless pair of headphones you own these days are a constant cycle of charging and discharge. But like mathematically, like a good pair of headphones, like an Apple iPod
discharge,
the AirPod Pros, like that should last you 2 years and no more by definition of the way they're designed, right? It's fucked. And it raises the question of like, why not just get a, like, I thought about this actually, like, obviously nothing has a fucking auxiliary port anymore just to plug into. But if it did, Wouldn't it just be better to buy like one really nice pair of like Sennheiser headphones for like the same price as your super expensive wireless ones, and then just retain? Like, honestly, like there's a reason, right? I have a shitty pair of Razer wireless, and honestly they do well for what they're supposed to be doing. And I bought them.
You could just spend $1,000 on the Dyson headphones, and you could have the cool mask of fresh air to go along with it.
That's absolutely true. And with this segment brings our sponsor for the day. I'd like to thank Raycon for sponsoring the segment on why headphones suck. I actually have a pair of Raycons and I love them, but I don't. I usually use them when I'm at the gym or I'm at home playing Minecraft. Ooh, the sound is just as amazing as all the top other name brands, and they're half the price. The ones I'm using are the everyday E25s. And Eski, let me tell you, they're the best ones yet. 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, available in multiple colors. I like the red ones because I'm red-pilled. And the compact design helps get rid of background noise, except for the part where I can still hear my son screaming at night because it is not loud enough. I also like the fact that you can either click either the earbud or your finger to pause the music. That's right. I can click my finger and somehow it turns off that music. Makes it super convenient if I need to stop for any reason, like my wife telling me I am a horrible person. Go to buyraycon/1to10pod for 15% off your order. The link is in the description. Suck my dick. That's the end of the episode. Go like, comment, subscribe. Check out our TikToks and all that other dumb shit. Also, do you actually have anything else you want to say, like talk about?
Yeah, I want a soundboard for the episode to where I can play loud metal pipe dropping on tile floor. So when you start doing this, I could just introduce a.
You know, my favorite part about that is that right underneath the copy pasta for the Raycon thing is someone replacing it with the R's with W's. So before we start this video, I'd like to wake us also Waycons.
Ooh woo.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for listening to another episode of 110 Podcast. Eski, appreciate you, bud.
Hey,
listener,
love you.
I appreciate you even less. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
See ya. Bye.